everybody. Welcome to this special Mother's Day edition of Issues. I'm your host, Brother Kobe, and we just want to take this time to give a special thanks to the mothers out there. We appreciate your hard work and your dedication to us. We know the task that you have at hand is not easy. It's not light. And so, for you to, put forth the effort and to continue to love and pour the love and sympathy and effort into raising children and doing all the work that is necessary, that's the work that is second to none, even that is greater than the work that the preacher does. And so we want to just take this time to give you the honor and due respect, the proper respect on your name. And especially, my mom, just thinking back on some of the experiences that I've had, us being raised in the church early on. And, one of the things that, my mom would have us to do was our memory verses. And I remember when we would do our memory verses, she would give us $1. And for some reason, my brother had the bright idea, like, if we do a memory verse and she give us $1, if I do a couple of memory verses, he'll have to give me a couple of dollars. And so when we do our memory verses, he comes and he memorizes 5 verses. And while she's all excited and happy that, you did all these memory verses, he thinking about, well, you better break me off my money. You owe me $5, and so in her excitement, she's like, hey, here's your money. And so when I'm looking at that, I'm like, bells is going off in my mind like ding, 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 ding. So I get them in the room like, hey, don't spend that. I got a plan. We're going to do this until we can save up enough money for us to get a video game. And she's like, all right, cool. So I'm like, the next week, he do his 5, I do my 5. And so now I'm added to the fray. And so now she's excited because now I done did my 5. And so while she's excited, we still looking like, hey, you got to give us our money. And so lo and behold, she give us our money. We're all excited, like, yeah, we're going to put this to the side. We finna, get our money. And for some reason, I don't know why our sister never thought to get in on the action. They never tried to do their couple of memory verses, which is good. More money for us. But I guess we got out of hand and got too greedy. And so the next week, trying to do more memory verses, she's like, yeah, that's nice, that's fine, but I ain't finna keep getting all this money out of me. So we, wind up confessing and telling her, what was our agenda, what we, had in mind, that we was trying to save up our money. And so like, oh, y'all save that money? And so like, yeah, so she took the money and, later on just bought us the video game and stuff like that. So early on, we was deep in the church and about, we had the spiritual side catered to, and she looked after that, by herself, taking us to church, trying to, instill the right principles in us. Also, she instilled some other principles in us, that she thought was for our benefit. The whole saying, mama ain't raised no punks. So I remember when we stayed in this house, and in every neighborhood you got the corner store, but next to us we had the candy store, and that's where this lady, she had all the fixings, all the penny candy. What y'all know about that penny candy? You had the pickles with the candy cane in it that you stuff in it. You had the chips where you put the chili and cheese on it. Ooh, y'all don't know about that either. And all the fixings was in the store, all the the good stuff. And so, of course, you'd be heavy trafficked areas, people going in and out constantly because they're going into this candy store. Well, me and my brother, we stayed on the second floor. So, but me and my brother, we had pet nicknames for everybody. And so we always called, between ourselves, called the individuals by the little nicknames that we had given them. And I remember, some of the people that used to come through and to go to that candy store was a guy that we had nicknamed Fat Albert. And his friend, I forget what we called him, but we had a nickname for him too. And so we used to, make fun of people, call them by their names and stuff like that. But one day they wound up seeing our face, through the window. And so lo and behold, one day, my mom, she sends us not to the candy store, but to the corner store. And so I think some bread and some other things. And so when we go there, we're coming out the store, all we hear is, there they go. And we look up, it's Fat Albert and his friend. And so they chasing us, and that bread morphed into a football in my hand. We running, we using my football moves, juking them. And we get to the crib, and we running up the stairs. So when we get to the house, we huffing and puffing. And she come out like, what, y'all all huffing and puffing and out of breath? And, you know, again, we raised in the church, so, you know, we just being honest. Like, hey, these two dudes was chasing us, trying to, you know, beat us up. And she turned to us like, man, y'all better go back out there and fight. And we looking like, is she crazy? Like, what you mean go back out there and fight? So we ain't doing that. And she like, either y'all go out there and fight or y'all finna fight me. And we looking like, what? What is going on here? And so she goes back in the back and she comes out with a belt. So we get to running downstairs. And when we downstairs, lucky for us, they was gone. And she comes out on the balcony and we looking like, so wait a minute. So if they was down here, you was just going to watch us get beat up from the balcony? Like, what's going on here? And so I remember us kind of just like standing there, just like not knowing what to do. So she like, come upstairs. And so we go upstairs, and so she tells us like, I bet not ever hear about y'all, you know, running from somebody, or, you know, not fighting, or, you know, let somebody just pick on y'all and bully y'all. Y'all better, you know, do this or do that, you know, and fight back. And so that was also instilled in us, you know, to stand up for yourself, not to be bullied, not to be picked on, and so forth. Not to go out there and try to pick fights, but, you know, don't let nobody bully you or, you know, push you over and stuff like that. So that's also instilled in us. And again, that's the old saying, mama ain't raised no punks. And, you know, and she didn't. And so I remember, you know, growing up, it's like, hey, if you one of your siblings get into a fight, you know, you better help them. And, you know, I remember I got into a fight early on. So I got to be honest, I lost. But, you know, we got in the crib, you know, she found out that June didn't help. And she wound up giving him a whooping. He ain't never forgot that whooping. She tore his behind up. And so, but that was also instilled in us as well, you know, like, hey, you see your brothers and sisters in something, don't just stand around looking around like you don't know what to do. You know, you help out. But, you know, so she instilled these principles in us, and really, when you look at us early on, you know, we talk very proper, you know, we were naive to a lot of like street stuff and things that were going on. Like we had friends when we was little, and we would have to go to their neighborhoods to go hang out with them, some of our friends from school, and we couldn't understand why they wouldn't come to our neighborhoods, because our neighborhood would be one gang and their neighborhood would be another gang, and we just so naive, we wouldn't be paying attention to it, so we'd just be going over, hanging out with them, being in another neighborhood, not thinking about, oh, this is another gang territory. But they were wise and understood. Some of them may have been a little affiliated or just understood, like, wait a minute, I'm not going over there because the guys over there might pick on me because I'm from this neighborhood. And so, but we never had that problem. But yeah, so, you know, a lot of our friends, you know, had that understanding, but we were so naive concerning the streets that we ain't know nothing about that. So, so I remember also early on, one of the stories, you know, you heard about the pops haircuts. Well, we used to get the mom haircuts, and you know, she was messing us up, man. I remember she messed June up bad this one time. She had a horrible haircut, and so we had enough. It was like, look, she can't cut our hair no more. And so we had a meeting, and then we just approached her like, look, you're going to have to find us a barber or something, because you can't cut our hair no more. You got us in school being teased and picked on because you messing our hair up. And so she went and got us a barber and everything. And so, yeah, that was a lot of our early childhood. But, you know, early on, I remember, you know, we was a two-parent household. You know, my dad was the breadwinner. He was the one working. My mom, she was the stay-at-home mom. And so she did, you know, all the taking care of us and the house duties and all that other stuff. But when my dad got locked up, you know, all that burden was on her shoulders now. And so she immediately got to it. Started working. And next thing you know, moving us from one place to the next. And I remember when we first got Because at first, we was having people picking us up. We were taking public transportation and all of these things. Now she's working and she bought her a car. I never forget it, a red Corsica. We were so excited when we got that car. And we were staying on 63rd and Cole on the east side, where she got that car. Then we wound up moving to 82nd and Escanaba. And what's so interesting about that, that's where, all the areas was like gang infested, but it was at that time that one of the kids in the neighborhood, I guess, tried to get June to join the gang. And I guess June was so scared that, he went and told my mom about it and told like, hey, one of the dudes approached me about, joining the gang. And she was like, all right, yeah, I knew this day was going to come. It's time for us to get up out of here. Which, parents, you have to understand, like, be mindful of the area, the neighborhood that you're trying to raise kids in. You going to work and, you got your kids out here, your young kids out here that might fall prey to some of the vices and, ills of the society that's there. And so you may try to protect them all you want, but if you have them out there, those wolves, it's going to eventually, that darkness is going to envelop them. And sometimes you got to place your kids in a proper environment, get them out of these gang-infested neighborhoods, these gang-infested places. Now, I know the saying, you can take the kid out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the kid. But don't put the hood in the kid to start off with. You won't have that problem. So you could take them out the hood, and you don't have to worry about the hood being in them because you never put it in them to begin with. And so she's like, look, I'm going to take y'all up out of here. I'm not going to leave y'all in this environment. And because, she grew up in a different era. In her era, you remember the episode on Good Times where, the gang members, the vice lords came to JJ's house. It's like they was going to force him to join the gang. Well, that was reality. They was doing that in real life, so... back in my mom's days, like, you didn't have a choice. If they say you joining the gang, you joining the gang, or you gonna fight your way out of staying out the gang. And so that was a reality for her, and she understood that. So she was like, all right, I knew the day was gonna come where they was gonna try to get my sons and try to get them involved in these gangs. And she was like, nope, it's not happening. We get up out of here. And so she used to have to. Her work was like 2 hours away. She used to have to drive 2 hours to work, going there, and 2 hours coming back. And so, but on the way there, she used to pass this town of Bolingbrook. And so she began to look for a place to stay out there, a little suburb. And so she wound up finding a place out there. So we wound up moving out there to that place. And so when we moved out there, I remember her, my friend Brian Fleming, she started going on walks, exercising, with his mom. And when they was walking the neighborhood, she saw a house, and she like, I'm going to claim that house. I'm going to be praying that I get this house. I guess the house was for sale or something. And Miss Fleming, she was also praying with her for that house. And lo and behold, within a year, we wound up getting the house. So now we moved from the projects, the ghettos, to a suburban home out there in the suburbs. And so now when we get the house, it's time for my dad to get out of jail. So when he gets out of jail, he don't have to go back to some project, to some ghetto. He can go to a suburban home. And she got him a new car. Well, it wasn't new, but it was new for him. It was a car. When he went in, I don't think he had a car. So he get out of jail, you get a suburban home and a car. And so God set up everything nicely for him. But I ain't going to go into that story. To keep it positive. So once we are there, I just remember, the song by Tupac, when I was young, me and my mama had beef, 17 years old, kicked out on the streets. Now, back at the time, I never thought I'd see her face. There's not a woman alive that can take my mama's place. Suspended from school, scared to go home. I was a fool with the big boys breaking all the rules. So, when I was young, when me and my mama had beef, 17 years old, kicked out on the streets. So, as for me and my house, we shall serve the Lord. So, I didn't want to abide by the rules of the house. I want to do my own thing. And, you're in situations where, like the song says, suspended from school, scared to go home. I was a fool with the big boys breaking all the rules. In middle school, getting kicked out of school, and we stayed right there, right across the street from the school. But that was the longest walk ever, having to walk from school to go home to explain, like, what you doing home? And like, you go home, you go knock on the door. She opened the door like, what you doing here? You ain't got nothing to say, because she's like, amazingly, I didn't get a whooping. And so being brought home by the cops, cops knocking on the door. She opened the door like, and he like, oh, is this your son? She was like, yeah, all this stuff going on, and I'm getting into all sorts of trouble. And, it's like, look, either you're going to abide by the rules of the house or you're going to have to leave. Now, some people may think that that's harsh, may think that that's mean. Oh, she goes kick her son out. Well, what's she supposed to do? You're like, you gotta, cut out the cancer, or you can cause a mutiny in your own home. Because I'm doing the same thing. If you come to my house, you're going to follow the rules here. You're going to, be up out of here. So I'm not tolerating that. And the reason why is, you have to stay firm so that people can know that they just can't come and do as they please. That they have to follow the laws and the order that you establish in your own home. And secondarily, for the other people that might be around. Because let's say if you set a curfew, say, hey, all right, y'all got to come in the house at 10 o'clock. And everybody is coming in at 10. But there's one fool want to stay out to 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. Well, what's going to happen is all the other ones going to look like, well, if he get to stay out for 12 o'clock in the morning, then why I got to come in at 10? So they going to start trying to break the rules too. Right? So you got to lay down the law so that they know, like, hey, no, he's not getting away with it. I'm not going to tolerate him, and I'm not going to tolerate in you doing it either. And so, me being kicked out the house, going to stay in with relatives and things of that nature at the time, just mad and rebellious. Yet, she stayed persistent. We had a talk. We patched things up. I come back in the crib, and so. The dedication, the faithful prayers. I think about all the stress all caused. That's part of the song too. And but staying persistent, staying faithful, staying diligent, dealing with me doing all of those things. Because even in high school, getting kicked out. But even before I got kicked out, I had got suspended from school. And then I decided I wasn't going to go back. And so they just, dropped me from all of my classes. And then she wound up getting me back in school, but that only lasted like a couple of months before I got kicked out again. And so, going through all that and probably looking like, what's going to happen with this? Because you looking at it from a carnal perspective, like, what's going to happen with this fool? Like, is he ever going to get it together? Am I going to have to deal with this for the rest of his life? Him just not getting his act together. And so to think that I've provided all of this, I've given you every advantage. You're not in the hood no more. You got a nice house in the suburb, and you're still not acting right. You're still not doing right. I got you in better schools, and you're still not acting right. And so, I provided and done everything that I could to provide. And so, staying persistent, staying doing the things that a mother would. Because, you think about the fathers are known as being more hard-nosed and stern and law and order, and the mother's more soft and tender and merciful and all of these things. Yet, she had to be all those things dealing with us, and, you think about just the times when I turned and started doing right. The Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. And, and what that means, because some people misinterpret that as to mean that they will never go astray. And I don't mean that. It just means that, just throughout their life, the training and the principles that you instill in them, even though it may not be in the forefront of their minds, is still there. And that might be a means of bringing them back. Just like the prodigal son found himself in a pig pen. And he remembered the principle of his father's house. He said, hey, even my servants live better than what I'm living in right now. So even if I went back to my father's home as a servant, then I can live better than this. And it was the thought and the understanding of his father's love that was able to draw him back to the home. And so the principle is there and it doesn't leave. And so that's the thing, the training may bring a person back if they go astray. And so I remember just, all of those things coming back, all of those memory verses, all of those times in church, all the things that was instilled in me coming back, and God using those things to draw me back to himself. And you can see the pride of a mother as, you went from this to this, and you just happy that, he's not dead or in jail or running the streets. And so I remember it came to a point to where every time we're out and she's introducing me as my pastor's son, I'm like, what are you telling these people I'm not a pastor? I'm telling them that. But she's just happy I ain't out there acting the fool no more. And so that's all the dedication that was put into me, that was put into all of us. And even, when her having to take up extra burdens because, my dad is away, having to work, my older sister having to take a lot of the burdens, because, she had to play a motherly role to us, had to beat us into submission because we want the mutiny against her. Like, you ain't the boss of us, and she had to beat us down and make us clean up and all that stuff, and she would cook and stuff, or shall I say microwave food for us, and so she's had that role from early on as well. And a special shout out to my wife as well, all the dedication and the hard work that you've put in. Thank you, and I praise God for you, for you being a part of my life. I love you, babe. And, people often talk about, this becomes a cliche saying for people, I don't know what I would do without you, and for me, that's a reality. Like, I don't know what I would do without you because you do so much. You take care of so many other things, and so sometimes I sit and wonder, like, man, if she ain't around, how all these things going to be taken care of. So I appreciate you. Your work doesn't go unnoticed. So again, to all the mothers out there, and let me read this too before we stop. I want to read this. Let's see here. It says, Jesus speaks, "Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom that is prepared for you from the foundation of the world." Here he tells you to be a partaker of his joy. But what is that? It is the joy of seeing that your efforts, mothers, are rewarded. Here are your children. The crown of life is upon their heads. And the angels of God immortalize the names of the mothers whose efforts have won their children to Jesus Christ. And the Bible says, bring your children unto me and forbid them not. And that's what my mother did to us. She brought us to Jesus, and the Bible says, listen, we can give our mothers their flowers now, because God in the kingdom shall give them an immortal crown, and give them rewards and acknowledge their efforts even in heaven. So the mothers that are able to make it to the kingdom with their children will receive special honors and special notice from God, and he will say, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant." When he asks, "Where's the beautiful flock that I have given you?" they shall be able to say, "Here am I, and the children that thou hast given me." And so to return your children to the Lord, to say, "Listen, I've been faithful to the charge. I've done all that you have given me to do, and I return this prized possession back to you." And God shall reward that faithfulness. So again, to all the mothers out there, my mom, I thank you for all your hard work and dedication. I want to give a special thank you to my wife. Love you. God bless you. You mean the world to me. My sisters, Josie and Crystal, to all my aunties out there, Auntie Nishi, Renee, Brenda, May Graham, Dolores, Aunt Kay, Aunt Juanita, all my cousins, Shanice, Nicole Madison, Dinah, the Baloo, Sister Baloo, Mama Baloo, and everybody else. Now somebody gonna be mad because I missed their name. So, just know happy Mother's Day to you and all the mothers that are out there. Enjoy your day, enjoy your time, receive your flowers. I want to end with this. This line that says, you always was committed, a poor single mother on welfare. Tell me how you did it. There's no way I can pay you back, but the plan is to show you that I understand. You are appreciated. Thank you for tuning in to Issues of the Heart. Remember the true proverb, keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life.